the bourgeoisie. All right, the Jake Boule meaning the Jake, the black so-called black Boule, bourgeoisie. This is a faction that exists. This is something that truly is going on this in this society that's on this planet Earth, set up by the so-called white man. It's always been going on. It goes back, but it's true, and I'm gonna prove it through the spirit. And in this edition, of this black Boule, this Jake Boule, or bourgeoisie series is gonna be covering Jay-Z. Jay-Z, he's a part of the black Boule, the Jake Boule, the Jake bourgeoisie. He's in it. And this ain't to sound fancy. This is just so you can know, like, this is something that actually exists. All right, and it's been existing, as I said. So we're gonna be going into Jay-Z. He's a sellout, and it's something important. And Lord willing, I can continue this series because all this leads to how certain people are gonna get in certain places to be, destroyed. These people are gonna lead to how people get to certain destinations of the ultimate different destructions, laid out by God to us, in His Word, in the Bible. And the so-called white man who set these people up, these Jakes up, know this. All right? So, call halam la Yahweh Bashmi al-Shah. I just want to jump straight into this. So when you go into this word, right, you got it right here, Boule. You see it on the screen. And it says, the legislative assembly of modern Greece. The legislative assembly of modern Greece. Now we break that down. Legislative, that goes into law, that goes into orders, directing people, governing people, the government of people, right? Which way people are made and led and set up to go to head in or to head towards what direction, right? So it's and that is done. This next word being assembly, obviously, or just decided or is aided to being the case by this assembly, which is a group of people. And it says of modern Greece. So this is something that was going on in Greece by the Greeks, set up by the Greeks. This is a way of them, and the Greeks being the so-called white people in the time of antiquity. But obviously, this says this is going on now too, because the word right there, modern, basically meaning present time, new age, right? So the Greeks, they got a modern Boule set up, a modern assembly of people that's responsible for the legislation, which is they have the modern day Greeks, these so-called white people today, they have an assembly set up, right, of these people who are with their ways that are basically considered Greeks, right? No matter if they're actual Greeks or people that was of other places and different ways of life that just came to their ways, helping direct people towards whatever direction they want people to go. That exists right now. That's a Boule. It says sometimes lowercase a state legislative, this is the second definition, advisory or administrative council in ancient Greece. So this used to go on. And the origin of Boule goes back, it says, to the 1800s, 1840 through 1850. It's a Greek word. It's a council body of chosen ones. So they had to literally pick. This assembly is hand-picked individuals that's gonna advise, and govern, direct people. This assembly is a particular hand-picked out intentionally for whatever reason people that are with these ways of Greece, right? To direct people into the way they want them to go. That's a boule, and that exists right now. And I tell you the Greeks back, obviously, because we know the Romans back who took over, and that's according to the Bible, Revelation. But so we know the Greeks back because the Romans are said to be back, who did nothing but take over the way of the Greeks, who was just more so-called white people. But anyway, so this boule is going on, man. All right. Now, what I want to do is let's see. Let's just jump to it. Jay-Z, right? Who's an Israelite, and we're gonna prove this through this article that just came out on the Rolling Stone, right? By Macapper Conte, September 1st, 2022. This is going to prove that he's a part of this black boule, and he's a sellout completely. All right, he's a part of this boule. He will be of the boule, which is the modern assembly of legislation, directing people, advisor of people. They call them influencers, directors, right, to make people head in certain directions. He's a part of that. He's been hand chosen, right? Now, that takes me to the bourgeoisie, which is what this is also known as, right? Because all of this is of things that always existed. How the so-called white man kept, everybody headed in a direction that he wanted people to head, including the chosen people of the Lord, being the Israelites. The so-called white man being the biblical Edomite, Esau, right? According to the scriptures, which we're going to show in the scriptures, he always found the way to get everybody to do that, even the Lord's chosen people, through setting up what some called the boule, which is true because it said it was made during the Greeks, the time of the Greeks, which these so-called white people today were. So you had a boule today, you had a boule then, you had a bourgeoisie then, you had a bourgeoisie now. The bourgeoisie is what? Simply just peons in the middle that aspire to be like the so-called white man, right? Bourgeoisie. The middle class, typically with reference to its perceived materialistic values. That's Jay-Z. That's all he talk about. Jay-Z, this the title. Jay-Z bites back at the quote. This is going to show you this title, right? It says, Jay-Z backs back at quote-unquote eat the rich rhetoric, which people put out. People have a problem with the poor that's clearly around, falling always victim, to the rich. So this is something that's chanted amongst the little guy, the small guys, right, or whatever. And obviously Jay-Z at one point he came up with this. He will come out of this. So his whole take is he tried to push this you can make it bull crap, right? And he was once up there. He's up the struggle. He's just grinding. You know what I'm saying? And so he goes on to say Jay-Z bites back. It says Jay-Z bites back at the quote unquote eat the rich rhetoric, quote unquote. This from quote off quote. Now this quote is from Jay-Z. Something he said, quote unquote, Jay-Z. We're not gonna be tricked out of our position. So he basically saying he not with that. We're not gonna eat the rich, even though I come up the poor. In all actuality, still am the poor, because he acknowledging through that statement that he's not the rich, but he's no longer the poor. He's not trying to be the poor, so he will be what this is talking about, the bourgeoisie, something that don't even exist as far as the reality of the matter, something vain, right? It's something according to the Bible that would be deemed lukewarm, because you either poor or you rich. There's no middle class per se talked about in the Bible. It is. They're called sellouts. They're called Israelites trying to escape the curses. They're called people that have no kingdom as of yet, but they gain power with the beast for 1 hour. 5 minutes of fame. Bourgeoisie meaning what again? The middle class. No such thing. You either have it or you don't. He's saying he's by him giving that statement, we're not going to be tricked out of our position, which automatically is saying that he knows his position isn't the rich, but he's no longer the poor anymore. So he's of the middle. He's something else. He's the bourgeoisie. It says typically with reference to its perceived materialistic values or conventional attitudes. And the reason why he's choosing that position, because he want to be like the devil. He has those materialistic values. That's what he's after. So he's not poor, right? But he not rich. He just want what they have. Bourgeoisie. And that's all of these celebrities. All of these Jake celebrities. Black Boule, black so-called bourgeoisie. Jake bourgeoisie. Jake Boule. The Boule of Jacob. The bourgeoisie of Jacob. It's something set up to help direct. Once again, when you go back to Boule, it's a legislative assembly of modern Greece. A state legislative advisory or administrative council in ancient Greece. Origin of Boule, a council body of chosen ones that wasn't left to be completely left and just so-called completely vulnerable to the curses, but you are. That's why it's vain. But anyway, so when you go into this bourgeoisie, it says the capitalist class, this is the second definition, who owns most of society's wealth and means of production. That's in the theory Marxism, right? But it's simply the middle class. So these people that want to be of the rich, but they're not actually it. They're actually in all reality still the poor. They're just weak, and they succumb to chasing those who have. They sellouts. They brown noses. They bend over. Basically, they covetous or whatever, right? It says the bourgeoisie is a sociologically defined social class equivalent to the middle or upper middle class. They are distinguished from and traditionally contrasted with the proletariat by their affluence and their great cultural and financial capital. See? Because when you get that word affluence, let's get the word influence. That's an advisory, right? So Esau look around and see who's aspiring to be like him, because he looks over the poor, and he try, they gotta figure, they gotta always watch the poor, because that's their adversary. Like, that's who could be in position to take their position next, and that's how the Bible go. The scriptures tell us how the Lord, he sets up the humble and the meek in their position. So they always watch for the poor. I tell you that in Sirach, the 10th chapter, and a few other scriptures, passages in the Bible. So they always got their eye on the poor, and they seek to destroy them off the face of the earth. Why? Because they don't want to lose their position to, obviously, these people who don't have. They understand the whole, eat the rich, because they have it. They're the fat ones. They understand that, so they got to watch for these people. And the main reason they have to watch, because they're enemies. These ones that actually are the rich and are the fat right now, who are the biblical Edomites, starting with the Amalekites, right? These so-called white people, these so-called Jewish people. They have to really watch, because their enemy, their arch enemy, who's actually more powerful than them, being Jacob, which is these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, are a part of the poor. So they always got their eye on the poor, and that's because, and that's due to Jake is in that position due to people that's better than them, due to them breaking the covenant. They're under the curses, so they got to keep them in that position, because as soon as they leave that position, they obviously coming for the top, and then everything will be back in order with them at the bottom. They're not having that. So what they do, they take, during this time that we're under these curses, they look out for those that, to create a boule, to help keep everybody directed in a way they want them to go, to keep themselves in power ultimately. Keep everybody in the direction they want them to head, which is away from life, and away from catching on to them, and away from putting themselves in away from the way that will put, or the place, or the thing that will put them in position to take them down. And that's pretty much done by the boule, the bourgeoisie. So they look out, they create the boule, who are a group of chosen people of modern Greece, they worldly, that they're considered the bourgeoisie, or desirers of this bourgeoisie. People that don't want to be poor, and they're willing to be, and they want to be just like them, but they're of the people that they can't allow to ever come up. They're of Jacob, and actually be with them. So they'll allow them to pretty much manifest this bourgeoisie position, this different societal class, which don't really exist, which is the damn middle class. So they allow them to come up, and they blackmail them, and they use them, and they hold them, because they so damn covetous. To what? To do exactly what the boule, which those people will become, are set up to do, are chosen to do. And that's what? Advise, administrate. Period. Which is what the boule, the people of the boule consist of. They have ability to do. And they see that. They have ability to affluence. Now when you get the word affluence, it says, or they have affluence. It says the state of having a great deal of money, wealth, prosperity, opulence, fortune. Exactly. Deep pockets. So Jake gonna find ways to make money. So they use these niggas. They're like, yo, you got money too, but you're not actually rich. But I'm gonna use it in a whole nother way. Because of that, I can do something with that. You have affluence. Because it say the rich, the poor lifteth up their head and exalt. Whatever the rich say, they extol. Pretty much everybody hold their breath when the rich talk. And they extol everything they say to the clouds. So Jay-Z is one of those people that have what? And that's due to what? Their affluence. So Jay-Z is one of those people that they see have that affluence, right? And you can read that in Apocrypha, right? Now, that's one of the things they have. So, okay, we can use you. These people will listen to you. You will be able to advise people, right? And they're great cultural and financial capital, right? And capital goes into just really get an understanding of this, which is why how Esau set this up. I really shouldn't go into this deep because I do want to do a lesson specifically understanding of Boule, you know, how this thing works, right? But since I'm rolling through the spirit, it's all good, right? Now, capital, the most important city, town, or and in the scriptures, cities are revealed to be could be people. You know, a city, a people. Really, a city is the people. You know, so a people is like a city. But it says, or town of a country or region, usually its seat of government. That's just something I want to say because it says the most important city. Right? That's capital. You have something that makes you desirable. You know? Basically you have an advantage. So if Jay-Z, he has capital, right? He has who? The so-called black people. He's one of them. If he get Jay-Z, now so-called white man, he has that capital. He has those people. He gets that advantage that Jay-Z has on his side. This is why they do this. Now, that's basically that simple. It's that simple. Yeah. Now, do one more. Cultural. So you know the guy through his rap and his lyrics and his ability to supplant as being Yaiqua, he's got himself a lot of money, obviously by a so-called white man. But Jake found the way to make money just amongst themselves regardless. You know what I'm saying? History teaches you that, you know. But anyway, in a sense. But it says cultural relating, meaning relating to ideas, customs, and social behavior of society. It says relating to the arts and intellectual achievements. Right. Ethnic, which goes into race. So people, lifestyles. So he has capital in the area of cultural. Right? He has the way, like if you have the way that, like trends, what people want to wear, what people want to say, how people want to talk, how people want to dress. Jay-Z had all that with Cristal. He had all that with his rock-aware clothing. He had all of that with just everything, his whole mindset. He had capital when it came to cultural. He had cultural capital. When it comes to ideas, people considering ideas, he has capital. He has the capital in that area. No one cares nobody wearing what the damn so-called white man wearing. Jake wears suits because Jake think that's how they gonna make it. But when hip hop kicked off, which gave Jake the advantage in the cultural, we got the cultural capital on lock. But really now it's the so-called white man because he took us that had it, and he that gave him the cultural capital. Because everybody want to dress like hip hop, like Jake. How they act, you know, the ideas they come with, their talking points, where they, you know, the things they try to bring to the table, clothing lines, and all this other stuff, man. You know, Jay-Z had that on lock. So Jay-Z would be who? Jay-Z would be when Esau looks out amongst the people, amongst the poor, he would be the bourgeoisie. You know? And he would put him in position to become and make this thing that appears to everybody, which is this bourgeoisie. It's a thing, basically it's a group of people, it's a class that is not poor, but they're not running nothing. That exists, and that's only it's only consists of a few people, like these celebrities. Ain't that many celebrities? So that shows you what? It's not really real. But the point of him allowing all of these people that's basically of the bourgeoisie, right, to manifest an outright bourgeoisie, the purpose of that so he can create a boule. And that's what he's did. It's a body of chosen ones that's going to direct people in areas to go, right? Now, since I say all that, because the whole point of getting into this is to show Jay-Z a goddamn sellout. And I want to read this scripture in the Apocrypha in Sirach. Lord willing to come up. Lord willing, this ain't too long. I want to really try to keep this, to the point. But everything's been said that's been needed to be said so far. But anyway, this is Sirach 13 and 23. This is how Esau understand this, right? This is proving that Sirach 13 and 20, as the proud hate humility, so do the rich abhor the poor. See, so they can't stand with them, but they got to keep their eye on them, because why? That's how the rich eat. The rich eat off the poor. And tell you that in this same chapter, verse 19, as the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. That's how the rich stay rich, feeding off the poor, right? So they got to keep their eye on their food. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't let it leave their sight, get too far away from it. Always see what it do, Then you need to come up, you go to it in whatever way. You eat it up. But anyway, now when you jump to the point, it says, 23, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue. This is why he has his eye on these bourgeoisie people to create modernly, to create a modern bourgeoisie, ultimately a boule. It says of people. So because the bourgeoisie consists of people that have affluence, and those are the perfect people to make up your boule, of people that's going to advise. They're going to come with legislation, the assembly. They ain't all the same. They all on the same thing. They covetous. They of grease. They of your ways. They can advise. They can administrate. And they're all handcrafted, particularly. So they have the cultural, they have the cultural and financial capital, and besides just the the affluence, right? Now, finishing this out, when a rich man speaketh, so this is why they're like, okay, boom. Every man holdeth his tongue, and look at what he said. They extol it to the clouds, but if the poor, see, that's it. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he said. He got capital. He got cultural capital. He has affluence. He has cultural capital because he has financial capital and affluence. It says they extol it to the clouds. So whatever this dude tell people, so-called white man, see, they gon' these niggas is the boule, man. This thing real. It says, but if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? So they not only take the little money that they was able to make by themselves and use that to just take them and use those riches they have and tell them, to basically fawn on Jake, to hypnotize Jake. They give them more. They give them more riches. It's like when Nipsey Hussle did everything he did on his own, right? Independent. He was brought in, and they supposed to make him bigger. That's what happens. And they'll bring you in because all of these celebrities are nothing more than a boule. They're set up to be a boule. That's it. Now, the boule, the Jake Boule, the black boule, right? So they can't have them poor. It says, because people extol what the rich man say to the clouds. So they get these sellout dudes that don't know nothing, but everybody follow, you know what I'm saying? And they just boost them. It says, and yet they rebuked him too. See, and the poor man, Slakia. It says, but if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. So there it is. All right, so that's the whole point. Now, you just got to understand that this boule exists. So what I want to do now is, and then we're going to close this out on basically showing you that what Jay-Z is a sellout. Okay? Now, when we go here, this is 1 Timothy 6:4. It says, let me see what I want to get first. Let's get James 4:4 to the left. Right? Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. So pretty much these boule, they work for these people. The Jay-Z, a friend is basically somebody that what? This is proving to you there's a boule, because a boule, what? They recommend, they advise, they govern, they tell people what way to go, right? They approve. That's what a friend does. So these is people that's friends of the world. So if you're my friend, right, I'm gonna approve you, right? I'm gonna direct people to you. You know what I'm saying? You got a business. I'm going to, or whatever your endeavor may be, if I'm your friend, right? All of that. That'll be what? And then the person you're being a friend to basically help set you up to help you do that for them. They want you to help recommend them. So they make you a friend. They bring you in like a friend. To recommend and support and advocate and suggest all of their stuff. That's why you make people your friends. For that reason. Not to be yes man and fake man, but really, in the way that things work now, in this world, yeah, that's exactly what a friend is. So this is showing you there's a boule. People that advocate and promote this world automatically enemies with God, because you're an enemy of God. Obviously, if you're not promoting what He say, which is why He sum it up as that's due to you being a friend of the world. That's showing you basically indirectly. He's saying you promote what they say. That's a boule. 1 Timothy 6:4. I'm gonna start at 5. Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. You know what? Matter of fact, let's do this. We're going to show you it's a boule, right? I got a better one. Let's see if this, okay. Let's do this. Real quick. Kick it off here. let's go to Proverbs in the 31st chapter. This is going to make it clear to you, right? For those that don't know, and some of us that may have forgotten, right? Now, it says, not Proverbs. Psalms 31. 4. What does it say? It says, pull me out of the net that they have laid privately for me, for thou art my strength. Let's read it again. Pull me out of the net that they, who is the they? The they you always hear about in the world. You know? The oligarch, the people you don't see, the so-called, the people that's running everything though. You know? They always lying. They always putting something on TV lying. Who's the they? That's the oligarchy, the elite, so-called elitists, right? Of the so-called white people that run everything, right? That's the they. It says, pull me, so-called black, Latino, Native American, Indian person, the Israelite, out of the net that they have laid for, that they have laid privily for me. See that? Privily is something exclusive just for a person. You're not getting in unless you're one of these people. That's privily. So they have a net that's been exclusively made for a certain person, certain people. It's not, no one else is going to get this net unless you're of these people. You're connected to these people, right? What is that net? A net, when you think about a net is a bunch of woven pieces put together to entrap something. A bunch of different woven pieces put together to trap something. So it's a bunch of woven things put together as basically it has become a net to trap us. What does those pieces consist of? Wrappers, hence a boule, and hence other parts. That's been set up to, aka laid to what? To trap Jake. And when you actually read this, I'm going to get another one. Let's go to Psalms in the 52nd chapter. One of the pieces of the net that we read about in this word the Lord is telling us about, right? Because you got to interweave things together to create that net. One of those things used, one part of it is the boule rappers, Jay-Z, right? This is verse 6 in Psalms 57. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me into the midst whereof they are falling themselves. Salah. Now, what I'm going to do now is I want to get the same one, but I want to read it I really want to read it in the NRSV. Right? Because it has the key word there. Right? Let me come here real quick. Yeah. We'll read it here in the ESV because it's the same thing. They set. See that? That's different from the previous one we read, which says they have prepared. No, it says in a different translation in the ESV, they set a net for my steps. That same net. They set up wrappers. What's a part of the net? What's a part of the thing that helped? What was one of the pieces or one of the parts put together with other parts and pieces to create this net? Jay-Z, the boule, a group of individuals that's going to, advise people what direction, to head, in which people will head because of all their affluence, their money, their influence. People want to be just like them. Their talk, their ideas, That's a part of it. So they set up Jay-Z. They set up this Boule. They set up these people, handpicked it to advise people. And they not only set it up, it says they set a net for my steps. So pretty much this Boule has been set up to direct you, man. Where are you, what you gonna be on in the next, what you gonna be wearing, what you gonna be thinking, how you gonna be thinking, what you gonna be doing, where you gonna be going, what you're not gonna be doing. See that? And that net is responsible for that. A net stop you from heading somewhere if you get caught in it. A net have you gathered up by somebody that wants you. If you step in it, and they the one who laid it, or had it set up, my soul was bowed down. They dug a pit in my way because they have fallen into it themselves. Right, they're gonna lose ultimately. Why? Because they say in vain is a snare laid in the sight of any bird. You know, meaning what? If the bird is able to see, who's not only just able to see, he can fly. If he see it laid out in front of him, you think he gonna get caught? No. He gonna fly away, he gonna get away. So that was in vain to do. And that's what these dummies doing. We see what y'all doing, man. Right? And we gonna escape. But anyway, I got one more. So this is showing you once again what? They set up a Boule. They set up Jay-Z, the Boule, to catch people, to influence people, to direct people, to advise people. Okay, I want to get this last one. I really got one more. And then we're going to get into some good stuff. I got pulled up. Right? You got a famous artist by the name of Prodigy, who exposed this dude before the so-called white man killed him. Because we got proof. We got, some things, some documentation. All right. But anyway, let's go to Proverbs 29:5. It says, a man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. See that? So Jay-Z, you're going to read it, you're going to see in this article, right? He's flattering his neighbor. Jay-Z bites back, right, on the Rolling Stone at the quote-unquote eat the rich rhetoric, with his quote saying, which was, we're not going to be tricked out of our position, in reference to all those that have been able to eat the crumbs that fall from the master's dinner table. And we got our own table coming up. The billionaire rapper took on criticism of his capitalism, see that, in a surprising Twitter space. So he's basically just flattering Jake by making them think what they've made it. You know what I'm saying? We good right here. We gonna stay. We figured it out. We gonna stay here. Let me just read this. It says, Sean Carter, Jay-Z arrives at Shrine Auditorium and Expo Hall on October 13, 2021 in Los Angeles, California. After dropping a rare and nearly instantly beloved 4-minute verse on the title track of DJ Khaled's latest album, God, quote unquote, God did, rap veteran Jay-Z joined Khaled journalists Rob Markman and Ari Melber and more for an even rarer public conversation inspired by the song via Twitter Spaces on Wednesday night. And in it, Jay-Z discussed his ascent. Jay-Z discussed his ascent from poverty to billionaire status. But he will just be bourgeoisie, which is what? Middle. So to have $1 billion is not nothing. Y'all don't own nothing. You can't run nothing. You can't stop it. You You can't go tell Esau what to do and tell him, so-called black supremacy. No, it's not gonna happen. You don't have no power. They can take your money. They can freeze your accounts. So he's just all that bourgeoisie. He's a middle class that's just covered his. He got materialistic ideas, man. Right? Once again, bourgeoisie, the middle class, typically with reference to its perceived materialistic values or conventional ideas, right? When something is conventional, it's basically going into what? Pull this up real quick. I want to misspeak, right? Conventional, right, is normal. And now I was going to say it kind of goes into convenient. Because when you're not being normal, you're inconveniencing yourself. See that? Conventional is being common, being basically unholy, being like everybody else. See, the opposite of conventional is original. So he's not doing nothing original. He's just copying the goddamn so-called white man. These damn people, these birds, the Boule, the black Boule, the Jake Boule, the bourgeoisie of Israel, right? But the point is to stay on what? It says he discussed his ascent from poverty to billionaire status. He ain't did nothing. He ain't went nowhere. That's normal. To just be regular. He make it look like he not being regular, but he being regular. He make it look like he ain't on a 9 to 5, but he is. You're not talking about, immortality, slaves, Yahweh Shah coming back to do all of that. Yasha Allah, Kwame Yasha Allah. Your ass is conventional. Once again, normal. You're not. He think it's bull crap, and he got people perceiving what's normal as, because he got that capital in the cultural capital, which is why they giving him all of this, because he can make people think this. He got people thinking that just being a billionaire, basically having more than we ever had on this side, or having the so-called white man's old, like they was billionaires in like the damn, what? Niggas was billionaires in like before the 2000, before the millennial hit. That's old. They talking about living on other planets now. What you talking about? So they want to keep Jake bound through these nets, these fucking Boule people, these damn man. So it says, in it, Jay-Z discussed, because remember we once again touching on what? A man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. Proverbs 29:5. It says what? In it, Jay-Z discussed back to the article, in it, Jay-Z discussed his ascent from poverty to billionaire status and seemed to respond to critics who have called the mogul and his ilk capitalist. After Markman prompted him to discuss his history of bolstering financial opportunities for others. See that? Especially reported billionaires, Rihanna, Kanye West, LeBron James. Jay said, yeah, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. Hip-hop is young. We're still growing, and we're not falling for that tricknology, whatever. This public puts out there. Right? Come on, man. Trickonology. I want them to think, man, bro, it's crazy, bro. So this is him flattering his neighbor, because I'm all his neighbors. I'm all Israelites. Rihanna, Kanye West, LeBron James, who supposedly have surpassed the norm, but they only being normal. They're conventional. Y'all got like... You got dudes that NBA basketball team, $1 billion. So if you just hit $1 billion, you ain't, bro, you're not doing nothing. And you got a suit on. Yeah, you got dreads, but you got a suit on. Who you think you fooling? And then the so-called white man, no, we ain't supposed to be doing it. There's gonna be more niggas with suits and dreads. You know? But he noticed, Jay-Z noticed. It's all intentional. He'd rather be a conventional, he'd rather be conventional, right? He'd rather be a billionaire than to be impoverished, you know? Which is ultimately to still have nothing and to be a sellout, right? So the point is what? It says, a man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. Got you Jakes thinking we came up, we can do it. We done figured this, we got this, y'all, we done figured this out. It's a net. See? It's to direct you and to stand on this focus. You know? Billionaire. They about to get rid of the money. So they want Jake to not even be focused on the fact that that's happening and they slowly getting rid of the money by instead showing them through these Boule that they're hitting billionaire status. They can get these dollars up, and they just focus on that, and they're not even seeing the net they walking into as they walk down the road to finally hitting $1 billion. Minute, before they get off the damn path, they're gonna be scooped up by a net. They already in the net. As soon as you down that path, you're trapped. Because you weren't supposed to even head in that direction. You're supposed to be departing or rising and departing. Not headed for a damn billion. And that's why Jay-Z, that's why dudes like, that's why this Boule is set up. Alright? So that's basically that. Now, I got a better one for you. This will be the last one. It's proving to you that the Boule is set up. And then I'll show you it in history, right? For those that really want to understand this. This is Jeremiah 5 and 26. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. See that? They become like the so-called white man, right? In order to what? Get rich. In order to be the rich, you got to feed on the poor. Who are the poor? Your own people. So he's feeding on his people by telling them goddamn lies. And this is proven, right? As we get further into this, you got dudes like him set up, that was set up through Jay-Z. He's inspired. This dude, G Herbo, he's inspired by Jay-Z. But you got guys like Prodigy, before Lord required his spirit through the devil, I believe, they killed him, right? That says what? Which we're going to get into this last but not least. Mobb Deep's Prodigy claims Jay-Z is working for the devil. See that? He want that money, though. Which just came out through some letters Prodigy wrote when he was in prison, which we have right here, right? We'll get into them very quickly, Lord will. But anyway, so Jay-Z's one of these wicked men, man, that snatted snares. Who set it them snares? So-called white man. So they being just like him. They say they catch men, right? You got to understand what he's doing. This is what he's doing. This is how he's eating He's desiring the net of the wicked. When you go to Proverbs 12, it tell you that. Pull that up. Proverbs 12 real quick. In the 12th verse, it says what? Pull this up. The wicked desireth the net of evil men. So he's trying to use the same method and believes in the same method and has coveted. He's fell victim to coveting after the same method the so-called white man has used to become rich. And that's preying off the poor. Right? And the poor chiefly being the Israelites. Right? And you're going to have a rich, you always going to have a poor. That's understandable, but how the damn devil did it was not right. First of all, we're not even supposed to be below them. Second of all, he did wickedness to keep us poor. The main reason the main way they keep us poor is by keeping us in sin. It ain't just their ideas is better. They work harder, and we both had a fair start, you know, and then they just ended up being better. Wasn't that? No, we was disadvantaged. They put drugs in our community. They set up niggas like Jay-Z or Boule. All of these mugs, all these celebrities, they lie to us. They tell us we somebody else. We supposed to be chasing this. They lied to us They lied to us about what money actually is. They told us our God was a so-called white man. They made us forget who we were. They put us in slavery and beat the hell out. You know, they stole all our ideas. So they've become rich now by us being in a completely ignorant state by just preying off our ignorance, which is basically lying to us. The fact that we've been trained to believe lies now. And how? Where is that seen at? In the fact that we'll believe his ass. They play off of that. They know we'll believe anything they tell us through that whip, through those chains, through those Willie Lynch chip theory, you know, acts. Beat a nigga till you put the fear of God in him. Beat him nearly to death. Take the biggest nigga, tie him to one horse and with one leg and the other, you know, and beat the horses till they in separate ways. Buck breaking in front of the women and everything. All that shit, man. So now they're in a state to where you got the Willie Lynch trip theory is crazy. I want to do a series on that. But anyway, the whole point is what? We got to an ignorant state to where that's how they get rich. Because now we're in a point to where we not in a state to where we know that we should listen to them and believe lies and, you know, call evil good and, you know, lean upon our own heart. You know, all this other shit. And that's just all the damn, you know, lying. This is really about lying. By lying to the Jake, that's how you get rich. It's just that simple. And that's a part of the net that Esau, that's one of the pieces that help bring this whole net together. It's one of the parts of this net, one of the woven pieces that help bring this whole net together that Esau has used to get us. And niggas of the us have failed for it and desired that net to do the same thing to their own people. Hence being Jay-Z, these Boule niggas. It says, the wicked desire the net of evil men, but the root of the righteous yielded fruit. So they want to use the way he used to come up with his line to Jake just so they can eat, just so they can become rich. That's why it says right here in Jeremiah 5:26, for among my people I found wicked men. They lay wait as he that set his snares. They set a trap. They catch men as a courage. That is it. And that's how they do it. They get Jake off what? Lying to him. Right? As you see right here. He says a quote from the letter. We're going to get it though. Jay-Z sick, knows the truth, but he chooses sides with the devil in order to be accepted. This is an excerpt from the quote from it. It says, in the corporate world, Prodigy writes, quote unquote, another excerpt from the letter. of Prodigy when he was in prison, right? Jay-Z conceals the truth from the black community and the world and promotes the lifestyle of the beast instead. See? Lies. So if you conceal the truth, you lying. That's the net. That's a piece of the net the devil used to come up. The actual rich of this world used to come up. See? So this nigga, he busted. So that's why the Lord said, for among his men, his people are found. Who's his people? Jake, the Israelites, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, who are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that set his snares. They set a trap. They catch men. The Boule. They know they are the Boule. It says a cage, as a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore they are become great and waxing rich. See that? They are waxing fat. They are waxing fat. They shine. They overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause. They call the cause of the fatherless. Yet they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge. See that? Shall I not visit for these things, saith Yahweh? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? The Lord see exactly what our people doing. You know? It's a Boule set up and Jake going for it. You know? They set a trap. It's in the ESV. Verse, let me read 26 from the top. It says, wicked men are found among my people. They lurk like fowlers lying in wait. They set a trap. They catch men like a cage full of birds. Their houses are full of deceit. Therefore they have become great and rich. They have grown fat. And see, therefore have they become great and rich. Through what? Basically, this is how Jay-Z doing it. Through lying to his people. Through being of that Boule. Through pretty much using the same method that the so-called white man has used. You know? Tell a nigga shit is sugar. That's why I say it's one to them that call that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That's this dude, bro. It's crazy. Therefore have they become rich. They have grown fat and sleek. They know no bounds in deeds of evil. They just keep going. They judge not. Jay-Z keep going. You about to see him do way more. Watch. They judge not with justice the cause of the fatherless to make it prosper. And they do not defend the rights of the needy. And who's the needy? They own people. You know? Let's read verse 30. It says, and an appalling and horrible thing has happened in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests rule at their direction. See, at their direction. My people love to have it so. What? But what will you do when the end comes? You know, so you don't got no excuse no more. All right? Jake don't got an excuse no more. Because now this is all here. So I got this one last one. I'm going to actually, I'm going to do this. All right? Because I got to show you this. This was found in history. All right? It was always a Boule. You know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to say that because I don't want to keep this too long. So what I want to do now is, right, these are the letters from Prodigy. But I'll do this first. Let's do this. I'll get that last one. So, yeah, he worked for the devil because he had a Boule. It should be clear. All right? I don't want to keep this going too long. It says, Prodigy says Jay-Z sides with the evil, quote-unquote, Illuminati. All right? And he was a Jake that was going off, but he knew it. And the Lord, you know, took him out. He was a devil, take him out. He knew the truth. He talk about Babylon. He can have chariots on his mixtape covers, and he's gonna be with the Most High when laughing his balls off when Babylon is destroyed on his last mixtape album or whatever it was called. It was called the Hegelian Dialectic. He knew about that. You know what I'm saying? But all these dudes know, bro. They know what they a part of and what they doing, and that's what he's gonna reveal in his letter, which I'm gonna bring out. So that's basically everything in this. All right. So let's move on and get a little bit more of this. It says, before the American dream, this is all quotes from Jay-Z. Before was the American dream, pull yourselves by the bootstraps and you can make yourself. You can make it in America, quote off quote. All these, well, keep going. It says all these. That was him quoting the quote of America, right? But it says all these lies that America told us our whole life, quote off quote. Jay-Z continued back with another quote. And then when we start getting in, they tried to lock us out of it. They start inventing words like, capitalist, things like that. I mean, we've been called nigger and monkeys and shit. I don't care. Those words y'all come up with, y'all gotta come with stronger words. When did they ever put the word capitalist on us? Child ass out there. Esau the capitalist. He's the culture vulture. So this nigga, he's just a liar. He's just lying. So that's basically it. Pretty much what's going on now. I just want to point out this dude being of this Boule, because they about to, when you know who are the Boule, you know who to stay away from. You know who's about to have a critical hand in bringing the world to come, right? Bringing about the very ways that the Lord say is going to manifest these ultimate type of destructions. The people that get the chip, the people that get the repercussions of getting the skin cash, all of that, which is being left in that lake of fire. Which the Lord likens unto him, pouring out a cup, a strong drink with no mixer, no chaser. It's just he's not gonna lessen it for you. It's gonna be all of that, the rounding up, not be wearing of men, all of that. That's what's going on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'll be back to show you the way that these Boule puppets, these different ones, letter from Prodigy. Tuesday, 1 a.m., right? In my cell at Mid-State Correction. My first moment of clarity. The exact moment in time when I discovered that the entire planet was being lied to and was put under a spell to keep us unaware of it was back in 1996, around the time Biggie got locked up for the Tech 9 in his house. Biggie was in the newspaper that day with handcuffs on, being led by 2 or 3 cops. He had on a sweater with a big letter B on the front. It was that day that I was reading one of Dr. Malachi Z. York, right? Dr. York books. Can't remember which one. I believe it was titled, quote unquote, Leviathan 666. I finished the book and started crying. I was crying for all of humanity, but mostly for my black people. Because I then realized there ain't no such thing as black people. We the Israelites, so-called black people, but we know. It says, because I then realized it is all a sham. The government, religions, and he was already a successful rapper at this point when he got locked up and dropped his albums and all that. Those that know about Mobb Deep, right? Famous rap group. Anyway, the government, he said, is all a sham. The government, religions, politics, the Federal Reserve, IRS, and everything that we believe and live by is a joke. Let's get page 2. this one book didn't make me see it all. This one book didn't make me see it all. No, it was the combination of other things I've read, studied, seen, and experienced. Quote unquote Leviathan 666 just helped connect all of the dots to make me see it's all real. Dr. York has been set up by the FBI and the Illuminati players and is now serving 135 years in a federal prison. His own son, Jacob, quote unquote York, who was deep in the rap business back in '96, orchestrated the entire setup. Africa Bambaataa and Prodigy are the only two famous rappers who speak for Dr. York and knows he's innocent. Jay-Z and Jaz-O, that's who put Jay-Z on, Jaz-O, right? This is Jay-Z's mentor. This is where Jay-Z got his name from. A man by the name of Jaz-O, he was rapping and got a deal. And he put Jay-Z, his little homie, under his wing. He put him on. But anyway, Jay-Z and Jaz-O were both raised in their teenage years in Dr. York's New Wabian, quote-unquote, community in Bushwick, Brooklyn. They know because they all from New York, but it says, look at the Jaz-O, quote-unquote, originators video. Right? It's a video from Jaz-O, and you'll see them holding up Dr. York pictures, wearing his garb, and flashing his symbols. Page 3. Jay-Z knows the truth, but he chooses, and that's the point of him saying it. See that? Because he said Jay-Z knows the truth, but he chose sides with evil in order to be accepted in the corporate world. He knows, and this is why I believe, and Bunch believe, that Prodigy was taken out. The Lord allowed Prodigy to be taken out by these damn devils. Esau. Jay-Z conceals the truth from the black community and the world, and promotes the lifestyle of the beast instead. See that? He knows. And they selected him and keep letting him. That's why they use him for the NFL. We ain't needing no more thing. He made how a rapper get a deal with the NFL? He's chosen of that Boule. All these celebrities are. But then they'll kill you if you get out of, if you try to start changing the direction that they want you to tell people to head in. It says, I am revealing some astonishing information if people will just do a little research and see. Prodigy, Dr. York, and Africa Bambaataa are the truth. No, this the truth. This the truth. This the truth. He's speaking parts of the truth. He ain't had the whole truth. It says Jay-Z is a goddamn lie. That's true. That's a part of the truth. Right? It says, and ain't nothing he said in this a lie. Leviathan is the damn devil. That's a so-called white man, and that's the damn and he's become Leviathan through this. Leviathan ain't nothing more than the damn dragon. If you really think about it, because that's what the Lord is depicting in the book of Job. And it tells you that it's the so-called white man in the book of Isaiah. It's the same thing. And he said, can't nobody take Esau down basically due to how he's built. That goes into his system. And the 666, that's a part of his system. New system he's trying to roll out. Which we know that going to. So saying he ain't lied about nothing. They probably don't know the correct understanding, but all of that stuff is true, is of the truth. That's all relevant, all of it. Leviathan 666 and Leviathan manifold. So it could be a big ass damn Godzilla in the water in the ocean somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But that really on the spiritual sense is talking about Esau. It says, I have so much fire in my heart that I will relentlessly attack Jay-Z, Illuminati, and every other evil that exists until my lights are put out, which is damn near impossible because my power in the streets is incredible. See? Boule. But that's why they got rid of him, I believe, and the Lord allowed it. And then the Lord allowed it because he was going to hell off. He was living an off life. Ain't no telling what he did. That was a part of his judgment. all of that. But he'll be back, you know. He know the truth now. He in the spirit world with the Heavenly Father, as he knew he would be. I fear nothing and no one. I'm fearless because the truth has set me free from the Illuminati mental enslavement. And I have been empowered by God and the universe. See? To bury these cockroaches, quote unquote. So that was my moment of clarity. 1996 in Laurelton, Queens, New York. I have gone through serious spiritual wars with the evil energy that once existed in my body. It took me from 1996 to 2008 to defeat the negativity that held my soul hostage all these years, demons. So some people do it quicker, some never. And some have no negativity at all. They are special. This negativity I speak of is an actual living entity that uses us as food. We must we must sever our ties with it in order to see things for what they really are. That's true. You know, there's some heavy stuff he said, man, through the spirit. It says, this negative energy is created and harnessed by the Illuminati secret government. It ain't nothing but demons. You know what I'm saying? You know, and not knowing who you are while you in the flesh. So the flesh end up becoming stronger before you ever able to realize you a spirit and build that spirit. Right? The spirit of Yahweh Bashmial Shah, before you even know you're an Israelite. And he's mainly what he's talking about is the curses. Right? Even if he didn't know that. Right? But he clearly did it because he was said that. It says the negative energy is created and harnessed by the Illuminati secret government. Right? They created this energy and they harness it and they spread and they will spread and they will make you spread this energy without you even knowing it. See? Boule. It says, but people like Jay-Z are very well aware. He was schooled by Dr. York. So if you are aware and still spread it, what does that make you? And who and what do you represent? See? Wicked. The Boule. Alright? So with that, Lord willing, you've been edified. Like I said, I'll come back next time. Oh, I got to close out here. So when you go to 1 Timothy 6 and 5, perverse disputings of men corrupt minds and destitute of truth. That's what Jay-Z saying in that article. Like, man, niggas want to talk about we capitalizing, they ain't right and all this. You know what I'm saying? We ain't finna be tricked out of, eating the rich. We gonna keep helping the rich. We ain't finna go against the system. He think this dude think this gonna be here forever, man. He was set up. That's a high level demon. It says, supposing that gain is godliness, see, from such withdraw thyself. So now you know about the Boule and who's the first one you need to look for others Boule, being Jay-Z, and stay away from this dude, man. Right? Charge them that are rich, verse 17, in this world, that they be not high-minded. He's not doing that. He's supposed to be charging them that are rich. Right? That they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. He's not doing any of this, but in the living God, right? The living Yahweh, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Now, when you get that word charge, this capitalize this ends it. This puts the cap on it. Cap a period. When you get that word charge, it means what? Just so you can see that this is the word charge in the same, from the same passage. 1 Timothy 6 and 17. Charge them that are rich, right? When you get that word charge, see that? The word right there is paragaleo. Which means what? Because he's supposed to be charging them that are rich. And when you charge, what does that mean? To transmit a message along from one to another. See that? But he's not doing that. He's charging them that are poor. He's transmitting a message not from the Heavenly Father to them that are rich, but from them that are rich to them that are poor to head in this direction, to do this, to do that. Because why? He's of that Boule. That's why. See? It also means command, order, charge. He's not doing that. He's doing that. He's doing that for them that are rich, not to them that are rich. We're doing that to them that are rich, which is the so-called white man that started the elite banker, so-called first, and then him. So he's charging, but he's charging them that are poor, giving them orders and transmitting messages. We're not, you know, we're not going to do that. So with that, call Halamla, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakudash. Double honors to the hopefully elect elder apostles slaves to be saved. Lord willing, start those elder men at the great millstone church on down to the rest that may be out here under the same doctrine. Onward to the Akim Shalom, onward to the Akim here at this faction, doing what they need to do. You know, of this faction of this hopefully elect assembly we're also in on, set up through the spirit, power, and grace of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Alright, doing what they need to do according to the scripture. Shalom to the rest of the Akim, doing likewise, and to the rest of you believers, Shalom.